My name is Ansel.
I'm Mateo.
And we're here with the Enoch's Eagle Eye to bring you what's happening in the NFL right now. This weekend was the NFL Combine, and here we have the biggest draft stock risers. First, we have Jackson Dart, QB out of Ole Miss. He didn't do the 40-yard dash or any of the physical tests. However, he threw the ball really well. Just look at this deep ball.
Right in the bucket.
A lot of deep balls at Ole Miss. Got it up early.
That was Bond.
After his combine performance and 3 years as being a starter in the SEC, we can confidently say that he is definitely the QB3 in this NFL draft class behind Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
The second riser we have is Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. He ran a 4.29 40-yard dash at the Combine. Man, he looks good. One of the risers of our wide receiver groups, looking like a true star for anyone to pick him up.
You could say that he's a golden draft prospect, couldn't you? Next, we have the biggest fallers in terms of draft stock, starting with QB out of Ohio State, Will Howard. For anyone that watched the Combine, you saw him during the throwing drills missing wide open wide receivers that are uncovered on routes he already knew. If you can't do that, then you're obviously cooked for real game reps. Despite being the national championships of the last college football season, you can't rely on Jeremiah Smith to bail you out in the league.
And without Jeremiah, he tried to rely on his legs too much. I mean, just look at this silly goose on the loose.
He wants to physically get the line to gain, but Makari Page, my goodness. 6'4", 208. Giant hit.
Okay, the second big faller in this year's Combine is wide receiver out of Oregon, Tez Johnson. 154 pounds with a 4.55 40-yard dash. That does not translate well to the league.
You got to be faster than that if you want to play with the best of the best. He's a boy amongst men at his size, and, you know, he's really got that football instinct, but there's nobody else in the league that's built like him and had success. Tez Johnson's skills probably won't transfer. I mean, you know, his size is just too small.
Some say he's a boy amongst men. Next on the agenda, we will be talking about NFL free agency and what you need to know for this upcoming season. Starting off with the team everyone's talking about, the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champions, releasing Darius Slay and James Bradbury, both really important pieces in their secondary.
Exactly, staples of that Super Bowl team. Can the Eagles maintain their success with the release of two of their honestly iconic players?
Along with those two, there are free agencies coming up for that team. We've got Josh Sweat, Zach Bond, both amazing players who have a contract looming. Yep. Can they afford another Super Bowl?
Big impact players in that Super Bowl game. I remember that. And on the road to the game in the playoffs. Next up on the list, we have Matthew Stafford. The Rams went around this offseason and kind of shopped him around to kind of see his value on the market. He had interviews with the Raiders. He went to Tom Brady's personal cabin in Montana to discuss potentially going to another team. He ended up sticking around in Los Angeles with the Rams and signed a 1-year, $27 million extension.
And that raises some questions. Was that the right decision when guys like Darnold are available? Is that really what's in the best interest for LA Rams fans?
He's a 37-year-old QB, and, you know, he has playoff success, but how long can we maintain that?
How much more gas does he have in the tank?
That's great.
Next, we're talking about everyone's favorite team, along with mine, the San Francisco 49ers, dealing with a lot of free agents this offseason. The start with the move of Deebo Samuel to the Commanders. Yep. To get rid of that cap space was a huge move for the 49ers. And what do you think?
Well, honestly, not only the cap space thing, but a cancer in the locker room. You know, he's punching people on the sideline and then proceeds to go out the next week and drop 3 passes. And he's talking crazy on social media. I mean, this guy isn't helping anyone.
He really isn't. And moving on from that, we have Ufanga, Greenlaw, Javon Hargrave, plus many other big names who need contracts. And with Fred Warner and George Kittle's contracts coming down the pipeline, can they really afford all this? Brock Purdy as well, another big guy that we haven't even talked about.
Yeah, they have 31 free agents this upcoming offseason, the most of any team by far. Can they retain their core base of players and hopefully relish some success after a disappointing last season? Lastly on the list, we have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, both wanting out of Steelers Nation. Yeah. Justin Fields started the season off pretty well. He didn't do great, but didn't do bad. Did enough to win a couple of games. Russell Wilson stepped in and had some great success.
But not enough to show that he is the QB1 for the Steelers. He's moving on to who knows where.
So is Justin Fields. They both don't want to be there, and that really begs the question, what's going on in Pittsburgh? I guess you could say Russell Wilson's contract was not unlimited. Our next segment will be hot takes, and my personal hot take is that after the Jets got rid of Aaron Rodgers, a smart move, by the way, they have their own solution right in their quarterback room already, and that's Jordan Travis. Former Florida State Seminole Jordan Travis was an elite QB right before his injury. If anyone's seen the video, it's quite gruesome. He led them to a 13-0 record, and they were snubbed from the playoffs. However, he would have probably been 4th or 5th in that draft. He was very talented. And it's a shame that he got injured. But he's been developing, rehabbing, doing great things behind Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's ready to step into that role, frankly.
With the right recovery, can he lead them to the playoffs like they hoped for Aaron Rodgers? Moving on to my hot take. It is with the wonder kid, Jaden Daniels, having an amazing first year in the NFL, Rookie of the Year, great season. Looks like CJ Stroud. We saw that flashes of greatness, that franchise-type quarterback. But my hot take is he will have the sophomore slump that CJ Stroud did. He will struggle. He won't see the playoffs again. He could have a decent season, but not to the caliber that he had in his first year.
I agree, and I think that's a smart take. We see a lot of QBs experience that kind of sophomore slump, and Jaden Daniels, he's very talented, but he's also, if you watch him, he's very skinny, injury-prone. Obviously, don't wish anything upon him, however. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
This has been Mateo.
And Ansel.
With the Enoch's Eagle Eye. Thank you so much for watching.
And we'll see you next time.